Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Breaking news in Sampson County. In the last 30 minutes, we've learned that 5 people shot and killed inside this home here 10 miles south of Clinton. Coming up, the latest from the sheriff here at the scene.
People are waking up to a crime scene this morning in a neighborhood in Sampson County. Just ahead, what we're learning from investigators.
And tragedy in Maine. At least 15 people are dead after a mass shooting. What we've learned in just the past few hours about the manhunt for the person who is on the loose and presumed to be armed and dangerous.
The weather's quiet, but we are starting a warm up. Our temperatures are noticeably warmer this morning. We can see some record highs over the weekend. I'll show you how it will feel.
And expanding resources for child abuse prevention and education. The new Raleigh facility opening today that will help thousands more families in the Triangle. It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. It is a busy news day. We're following several big stories for you locally and nationally with new information coming in by the minute. Thanks for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Yeah, there has been a lot to process here on this Thursday morning. We're going to break it all down for you. Beginning with Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, which thankfully we have a lighter, brighter start here.
We definitely do. So we're looking at very quiet weather this morning. The only thing that's beginning to develop is a little bit of low cloud cover. You can sort of see it here in Goldsboro. If you look past the building, it looks a little bit gray. It would be darker if we weren't seeing cloud cover there. But it's a warm start. Temperatures have climbed into the mid-50s compared to what we've seen the last several mornings. That's about 5 to 10 degrees warmer. We do have clear skies in some places, and so we have the top of the tower lit up in blue. Right now we're looking at visibility at 3/4 of a mile in Rocky Mount. That's the worst. Quarter-mile visibility is what we would consider fog that might cause some visibility issues. But we're starting to see the visibility dropping in some places, like Roxborough 4 miles, South Hill 7 miles. That's an indication of some low cloud cover. It's not going to have an impact on your commute really, but you'll just notice some clouds heading out. Temperature 45 in Roxborough. We're looking at low to mid-50s elsewhere. That's still a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday. And we're in store for a warm afternoon with a high of 80. We'll see mid-80s over the weekend. I'll show you which days look like we could break records. Coming up, Brian.
It is 6:02 right now. Still getting reports of a crash out at 40 westbound at Rock Quarry Road, but no sign of it on the camera or the sensors in that area. Just want to give you a heads up that you could run into some activity as you head through that interchange. Also hearing about a hit and run investigation right now at Rock Quarry Road at Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Over on the eastern side of Wake County, a crash with injuries now in the clearing stages at Pierce's Road at Proctor Street, just off Highway 96. Be careful as you head through that intersection. Another update in about 10 minutes.
We're following 3 breaking news stories this morning, including a mass shooting in Maine where at least 15 people are dead. We also have breaking news locally with 2 scenes in Sampson County where law enforcement have been for hours early this morning. We begin with Brett Neese in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. And in the last few minutes, we now have a number of the people who were shot and killed at that scene behind you, Brett.
Just a tragedy here this morning, Jeff, and it's become quite the emotional scene as some family have been alerted now and they have shown up here at this scene. But we have learned that 5 people shot and killed inside this home here behind me off Garland Highway. It's about 10 miles south of the Clinton area. This all happened around 1 this morning. And deputies have been out here since then. SBI agents are now here at the scene collecting evidence and trying to piece all of this together. Take a look. This is video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker of this scene from just a few hours ago. This investigation really has started to ramp up, and the sheriff's office tells me that it was around 1 o'clock when somebody that knew someone who lives here, one of the victims, had came by to check on that person, and that's when they discovered all 5 people dead inside this home. That's when they called 911. The sheriff's office showed up shortly after that, and that's when the crime scene tape went up, and it's been blocked off ever since. Now we're going to learn some more information about the circumstances surrounding this. Is there a suspect? Sheriff telling me that it is very early on in this investigation. That's pretty obvious at this point, but they're trying to collect as much evidence and as much information as they can, nail down exactly what happened here. We'll continue to stay on top of this and keep you updated. Live in Sampson County, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Just awful for those families. More breaking news in Sampson County, about 15 minutes from where Brett is. Police and EMS have been at a scene on Dogwood Circle in Clinton through the early morning hours. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live at the scene this morning. Kelsey, authorities aren't saying much yet about what happened there, but what can you tell us?
Renee, we don't know much at all, but we can say that we're just about 15 minutes south of where Brett was just a couple of minutes ago. We did confirm with the sheriff within the last hour that those two scenes are not related. But I'm going to step out the way now so you can take a look at what we have here in this neighborhood. So you can see crime scene tape that starts at that blue car that's in front of you. That's a blue Kia. And then it goes in between these two houses and it stops at the tree that's right there in front of you on your screen. And we've got video to show you now of police still putting up crime scene tape after 4:30 this morning. I spoke with officers on scene and they say they can't tell me what happened here at the moment, but we could see a statement released soon. No word yet on whether anyone was injured. Neighbors are waking up for work and school. I've seen a couple of them peering out their windows, stepping outside of their door just to try to figure out what happened. But we'll stay on top of this throughout the morning and we'll keep you updated as we learn more from police. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Sampson County.
We're learning more this morning about the mass shooting in Maine that left 15 people dead and as many as 50 may be hurt. Hundreds of law enforcement officials are searching for a man who police are calling a person of interest in this massacre. Authorities say that man is 40-year-old Robert Card, considered armed and dangerous. He's a firearms instructor who was recently treated at a mental health facility after making threats to shoot up a military training base. People in several communities are being asked to shelter in place, and schools and municipal buildings are closed across that region as the manhunt continues.
And Jeff, we're expecting an update from local officials in Maine around 10:30 this morning. Authorities say the shooter attacked at least two locations, including a bowling alley and a bar. Law enforcement sources updated the number of people killed to at least 15, could be as high as 20. A car believed to be connected to the shootings was found 7 miles away. Witnesses, including children, are gathering at a reunification center for families.
And coming up on Today, live coverage from Maine as the manhunt for this person of interest continues and as we learn more about what may have led up to the shooting.
Here in North Carolina, 700,000 state employees and their families may soon lose coverage of popular weight loss drugs on their health plans. State health plan leaders are meeting this afternoon to vote on whether to cover drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. Staff recommended the change, citing cost concerns. Those costs went from $3 million 2 years ago to $14 million this year. More than 20,000 plan members use the drugs. Teachers, state employees, retirees, and their families are all under this health plan. The meeting begins this afternoon at 1:30. We'll keep you up to date.
After weeks of not having a leader, the House of Representatives has a new speaker. As you look live on Capitol Hill this morning, lawmakers can now get back to business following yesterday's vote. Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana is the first from that state to serve in the role. He won support from all Republicans.
Happening today, a new advocacy center for child abuse prevention and intervention services is opening in Raleigh. The nonprofit organization Safe Child is hosting a ribbon cutting at 10 this morning for its new facility on Kidd Road. The organization says the new building will help it serve more children and families with education and support programs. Safe Child's executive director says the expanded facility will help it better coordinate its efforts.
So we're able to unify both our team that is just so talented, as well as all of our programs and services, which before this facility are mostly provided throughout the community in barred spaces.
Safe Child expects to serve 1,200 children and more than 30,000 families each year in this new facility. Panic and shock this morning in Maine, where families are awaiting updates about their loved ones.
I'm a little freaked out. I want to know, you know what I mean?
The anguish that community is feeling after the mass shooting as the search for the shooter continues.
And the Marine from a viral TikTok video talking about a body at Camp Lejeune shares more of his story only on WRAL, why he says that video was taken out of context.
This does not necessarily look like the end of October. We're going to be near record highs over the weekend, but all eyes, of course, on Tuesday. For trick-or-treat time, we'll have a first look at what the conditions could be as you're headed out.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
6:12, and we're taking a live look at what's happening outside this morning. We do have a mix of some sun and clouds to start with. Temperatures warmer than yesterday, starting off in the mid-50s in most places this morning. The last couple of mornings have been cooler. Yesterday we were mostly in the 40s, and of course the day before that, lots of 30s. We had that frost advisory early in the week. Temperatures at the bus stop this morning around 55. You notice the cloud with the squiggles. That's an indication of some fog. We're not seeing a lot of widespread fog, but as we get a little bit closer to sunrise, we could see a bit more of that. Beyond that, that'll burn off quickly. We'll see plenty of sunshine during the afternoon, a high of 80 degrees as the kids are coming home. Walking the dog this morning, a jacket feels good. You may not have to bundle up as much as you did earlier in the week. By 9 o'clock, we're hitting 60. And Brian, this afternoon, the high will be 80.
All right, Elizabeth, it is now 6:13. Just noticing some slowdowns on 540 eastbound heading away from Leesville Road back toward Creedmoor Road. We'll keep our eyes on that, let you know how it's developing. Also in Zebulon, watch out for a crash this morning. Pierce's Road at Proctor Street, that's just off Highway 96. Reportedly a crash with injuries. We are seeing some delay showing up through that intersection just north of 64 in Zebulon. All quiet right now in Durham. No crashes reported. And for the moment, at least, all of your major approaches into Durham are clear.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we're continuing to follow that breaking news out of Sampson County. This is the scene. 5 people were shot and killed. That is according to the sheriff's office. They say a homicide investigation is underway. There was a large police presence earlier this morning at a home of Garland Highway just south of Clinton. Deputies and SBI agents are on the scene. We are continuing to follow this breaking news. As soon as we learn any more, we'll bring it to you from the Live Center. Michelle, thanks. Only on WRAL, we're hearing from the Marine whose viral TikTok video describes a body being buried at Camp Lejeune. WRAL's Chris Lovingood spoke with Sergeant Jonathan Thayer. He told him the video was shot at least 4 years ago and that it's been taken out of context.
We were drinking on a weekend, right? And it started with us like telling stories from like when we were like privates and lance corporals and talking about what our NCOs used to say to us to intimidate us. And I was merely just like reiterating a story that I was told that everybody knew it was a joke.
Thayer claims his ex-wife posted the video with key parts edited out. He says it's hurt his career and he plans to get a lawyer. The Marine Corps is investigating the story.
Continuing now with our coverage of the mass shooting in Lewiston, Maine this morning. Hours later now, many families are still desperately trying to get information about their loved ones. WRAL's Ken Smith is here with their calls for help, Ken.
You know, Jeff, this is actually a live look outside that hospital there in Lewiston, Maine. And for so many families this morning, adding to the anguish is not knowing what happened to their loved ones. Many of them waiting outside that hospital overnight and this morning. One father whose son manages the bar where that shooting happened says he has not heard from his son since the shooting. Another mother says her son and ex-husband were at that bar. Both are sharing their frustration about not knowing what happened to their loved ones hours after that mass shooting.
When I wake up to the true facts that my son is dead and I know he's dead, I know it as well as I know I'm standing here telling you because he's not here and he's not at any other hospital. I'm a little freaked out. I want to know, you know what I mean? He's a young man. They shouldn't leave us hanging like this. Just tell us. I feel so bad for his wife. I mean, my kid, I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, both parents, like so many families in that community this morning, are asking for prayers for everyone touched by this violence. Of course, stay tuned to today's show coming up at 7. Live coverage from Lewiston, Maine, where that mass shooting happened.
So much pain there, Ken. Former President Donald Trump is facing another fine for violating a gag order. This time he has to pay $10,000 for appearing to reference a court clerk. He's accused of talking about the partisan person next to the judge overseeing a civil trial against him. Trump now claims he was referring to witness and his former attorney, Michael Cohen. Trump was fined $5,000 recently because the judge found Trump was attacking the judge's law clerk on social media.
The journey continues for Goldsboro native Caleb Sasser as he moves on to the next round of The Voice. WRAL talked to him, and he is still on cloud nine for just being on the show. We learned Sasser used to work at the Raleigh School of Music. He then moved to LA, where he's taught music at a middle school there, and he has a real passion for teaching. Listen to what he says he hopes young people back home learn from his experience.
I've auditioned for all of these shows. Like I've done American Idol, X Factor, Sunday's Best, and each time they told me no. So this year when I decided to do The Voice again, I was a little skeptical about it because I've been hearing no my whole life. So I was just like, why not do it? I'll do it. But keep going. You never know how close you are to really hitting the goal.
We will keep following his journey. The winner of The Voice gets a recording contract.
You got that one yes also. Right now, Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. We're going to give it a yes for today's weather, right?
Absolutely. Temperatures climbing to 80 degrees this time of year. I mean, Brian Schrader would give it the thumbs down, but I mean, you know, that's Brian Schrader. Take a look at Goldsboro right now. You can see a little bit of gray there up on the horizon behind the building. So it looks like we've had some low cloud cover develop there. I'm going to show you the satellite view, kind of pick out where some of that low cloud cover is. There's Fayetteville. Of course, we have Apex here down Salem Street, Chapel Hill, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. We don't have cloud cover everywhere, but watching the visibility dropping in a few places. It's back up to a mile in Rocky Mount, 6 miles in Southern Pines, 7 in Fayetteville and South Hill. Those places that are a little below 10 miles are spots where we could have some low cloud cover developing. But any low cloud cover that develops is going to burn off really quickly. We're going to see lots of sunshine for today. It definitely looks like our southern counties are seeing a little bit more of that low cloud cover right now. But again, it's not going to be a major player in our weather. This high pressure system keeping rain back to the west. We have a stationary system here from Texas all the way up into Canada. It's just sitting here dumping rain, but eventually that front has to move through our area. It doesn't happen this weekend, so anything outside looks great. Saturday, haunted house planner. It's going to be a full moon on Saturday night. Could make it extra spooky, but it is going to be kind of warm. 80 degrees at 6 p.m., 73 at 8 o'clock, 70 at 10 p.m. We take a look at our forecast for Halloween itself, and here comes that rain that I was showing you on the map just a second ago. We'll pause it here at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, and you can see that rain as well to our west. We'll pause it again at 6 p.m. Tuesday and at 10 p.m. So that's going to be our window really for trick-or-treating, and right now it looks dry. This version of Futurecast swings some rain in, though, by early on Wednesday morning. Some of the other models have really no rain at all for us, so still some questions about what kind of rain we may see with this front, but right now the timing looks like we'll stay dry. We'll have that cold front approaching, so that's a time period that we'll be watching very carefully. Feeling really confident about the temperatures. We're going to see a much cooler day on Tuesday, meaning it's going to be a little chillier for trick-or-treating. Right now, you know, up in the air about how much rain we'll see. Right now, we're giving it a dry forecast. 55 degrees at trick-or-treat time, a little bit breezy. So, you know, one of those furry costumes might feel a little better. Post-tropical storm Tammy. Why is it post-tropical? It just doesn't have the warmth. It doesn't have that warm core that it has to have in order to be considered a tropical system. It's still going to sit out here in the Atlantic, but we do have a completely different forecast path. Instead of moving over Bermuda, it's going to turn around and head the other way. So a lot of uncertainty about what Tammy's going to do. But right now, it does not look like it's going to have an effect on land, and maybe some minor impacts there in Bermuda. A very warm weekend with high temperatures close to records. I'll show you which days we could set or break them coming up.
It is 6:21 right now, and all new. We have a report of a crash in Orange County on 40 westbound, right around the New Hope Church Road area. No delay showing up right now on the sensors as you head away from Chapel Hill back toward Hillsboro, but just look out for some possible police activity out at that scene. Still tracking this crash on the north side of Zebulon Pierce's Road at Proctor Street. A crash with injuries, still seeing some delay showing up on the sensors there. And a reminder that overnight they started that long-term closure of Barrel Road at Blue Ridge Road, south of the railroad tracks there near Hillsboro Street, all part of that project that will eventually run Blue Ridge under Barrel, the railroad tracks, and Hillsboro Street to improve traffic flow. That's going to be a long-term closure for a year or so look out for that signed detour in that area.
Brian, thanks. Some of the thousands of auto workers who've been on strike for weeks may be heading back to work. What's included in the tentative deal reached between the UAW and Ford?
Senator Ted Budd says North Carolinians are being held hostage in Gaza. What else he revealed in his response to the Biden administration's plan to send aid to the region.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
Cher is talking about her relationship with her boyfriend, who is less than half her age.
Brian Schrader here now with What's Trending. Brian.
Yeah, Cher is 77 years old, and she says she had a strong connection with 37-year-old Alexander A.E. Edwards, but she says he doesn't understand many of her references. She says that often when she talks about something, he replies, "I wasn't born yet."
The truth. I mean, 40-year age difference, that's going to happen. But she says she just loves being with him. He makes her laugh, and they've been together for a year now. And she says, look, even if it doesn't go beyond a year, she's having a great time.
She has grandkids older, I think.
I think so, yes.
40-year difference.
Let's talk about another 77-year-old superstar, Dolly Parton. You know, Taylor Swift's fans, of course, are flooding movie theaters, and Dolly is going to bring her music to the big screen. She is debuting her new album, Rockstar, in theaters next month. The screening will include never-before-seen footage of music videos and performances and an exclusive interview.
Well, you know, Dolly's a smart businesswoman and worked for Taylor Swift. It's going to work for her. Some of the folks are going to see first ever full versions of her songs if they go to that premiere.
I hope there'll be sing-alongs too and dances at these movie showings. Brian, thanks.
Charlotte Hornets off to a winning start, beating the Atlanta Hawks last night in their season opener at the Spectrum Center. 116-110 the final. The Hornets took the lead late, hung on down the stretch. Back on the court tomorrow night hosting Detroit.
The World Series gets started tomorrow night on Fox 50. The Arizona Diamondbacks and Texas Rangers are squaring off for baseball's biggest prize. Game 1 will get started at 8 tomorrow night.
And our temperatures are going to end up being warm today after a cool start. We're going to climb up to 80 degrees in Raleigh and Fayetteville. I'll show you how much warmer it will be for the weekend and when the chill returns coming up.
We're getting new information about the manhunt happening in Maine after a mass shooting that left at least 15 people dead. Schools are closed and people are being told to shelter in place as the search grows.
Also, in just the past few minutes, we have learned a man is dead after being shot by a police officer in Clinton. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey has new information about what led to that shooting.